Well, hi there. How are you, Kim?
Hi, Rose. Great to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. Welcome to another episode of Casting Notes from Rose and Kim. I'm Rose Rosen, a casting director in Florida, and this is Kim Swanson, a casting director in Los Angeles.
Hi,
Hi.
welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. It's
Yeah,
so great to see you, Rose. Are you staying busy?
I am.
Hi.
Things are crazy, and that's good.
It's a great problem to have.
I know, right? Yeah.
You have to be able to think on your feet, which is so great, which is a great segue into our guest today.
I think this guy could teach us a little something about what we do, which is improv.
Yes, and
Yes, and welcome, Bill Chott. Bill,
Hi, how are you?
hi. Oh my goodness. Bill is famous for being on Wizards of Waverly Place. And recently he was just on Young Sheldon. So there you go. You can keep
consistently
working.
working actor.
Yes.
Love it.
And he teaches improv.
Yes.
And you
I
do
do.
it online.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to talk about. Because I think
that improv is one of those things that so many actors don't realize how much it translates directly into scripted work. Even they just assume, oh, you're either doing an improv show, or they think of like Wayne Brady, and that sort of thing, on what is the name of that show? You know what I'm talking about?
who your life, what something.
Well, not Whose Line Is It Anyway? Is that Whose Line Is It?
Whose line
Anyway.
is it anyway? Yes.
Yes.
People think it's like that kind of setting is the only time you use improv, and that's not the case.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So many people aren't aware that some of their favorite dramatic moments from movies have been improvised.
Mhm.
Robert De Niro, the whole, "You're talking to me," that whole thing, absolutely improvised. Some of the
Crazy.
best remembered moments of all film history were improvised.
Yes, most
So-
definitely.
So
Yeah.
what do you teach your students? Like, when is it appropriate to improvise? When is it appropriate to stick with exactly what's on the page?
That's a great question. I tell people that the time to improvise is when they say, "Make it your own," because obviously legally they can't say, "Now improvise for us." So whenever they say "make it your own" or "have fun with it," I take that as permission to improvise. And that doesn't mean throw the script out the door, because unless they say, "Forget the script, put it aside," I'm gonna still work with it, but I'll find moments where I'll say a little bit more to emphasize a point, or I'll exaggerate something for comedic effect if it's a comedy.
Tell me
Right.
why you can't legally ask somebody to improvise. That's interesting.
Because because of SAG rules.
Right.
Yeah,
I wanted
I think you'd probably understand it better from the casting perspective, but for an actor, it's actually asking them to do a job for them versus just like, show me how you would do what we're asking you to already do. So because a lot of times back in the, I guess, 70s and 80s, they'd bring in, especially all these commercial agencies that worked out of Chicago, advertising agencies, they'd bring in improvisers because they would always bring something new and unique to the project. But sometimes they wouldn't hire the improviser that came up with the funny bit that really sold the commercial.
Oh, interesting, right?
So yeah, and so that could be proven by looking at the tapes that were made. So it became a thing of, well, just to avoid any impropriety, they could never say, "You need to improvise for us to get this job," but they could say, "Have fun with it," and then it's up to me if I want to have fun to it by improvising or finding a new intention in the script or finding a new bit of business.
And I think that happened too. At one point, it was so norm for writers to come into the room for their callbacks, and they would sit and take notes of what
Mhm.
actors were coming up with, and then they go work the script and the storyboards a little bit, going, "Oh my god, I love that," and then but they forget what did it. So the actors basically doing the jobs of the writers. The writers are getting paid big bucks. The actors weren't getting anything. And
Right.
it was so inappropriate and wrong. So SAG made that rule that we couldn't ask actors to improvise unless we could pay them. So
That is such an interesting backstory, honestly. So
Mhm.
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Bill, so I want to talk to you because I know you do such great classes in person typically, pre-pandemic, and you'd be in a stage type setting where you had room to move and that sort of thing. But you've morphed and have been doing it online now.
Yeah. At first, when the pandemic hit and the first stay-at-home order came, I wasn't sure how improv classes were going to work online. I knew that I could improvise, so I started from the minute one. I went onto Facebook and started doing morning live videos, and then started adding second ones in the afternoon, and now I do TikTok live as well. But I didn't know how I was going to teach it and convey it, because a lot of the exercises that we do are in a circle. We're standing in a circle, which represents the nature of improv, the nature of life, the nature of the industry, and storytelling is all cyclical.
Right.
So I wasn't sure how to do that. And then I discovered, watching some other people who were doing it and some other people who were teaching online, to number off. And so we could number off, and then we'd know exactly where our space in the circle would be. And so it's the same thing, but it's kind of like when you look at a globe and then you look at a map of the globe that's kind of been stretched out. It looks slightly different, but it's conveying the same information. And so in that same way,
I've never done an improv class. I don't come at this from acting. So I want to know, can we be in a 2-minute improv class right now?
can we be in a 2-minute improv class?
I'll give you 5. Maybe
I think
3.
the reason I put mine in a 2-hour class minimum is that there's so much to cover. But the basic thing you need to understand is agreement. People think
Okay.
that there needs to be conflict in improvisation, and there absolutely doesn't need to be, because we don't have time to resolve that conflict. So the best advice I could give you in 2 minutes time is to always agree.
Okay.
And to say, Kim remembered earlier, we were talking in a conversation, the words yes and. The first thing you need to do is agree. The second thing you need to do is bring more information. And I like to use the phrase, bring a brick, not a cathedral. So a small, solid bit of information that somebody else can build on, not a whole planned out idea of the way you want it to end when it's done.
Oh, right. Right. I've seen this done. Never done it myself, but
Yeah.
Well, you'll need to
casting
take
director,
Bill's
somebody-
online class then. You would love it.
I know, right? It's so interesting.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's online, and for you, I'll give it free. And if anybody mentions just this podcast, I'll give them a 10% discount on the class.
That's great to
Ooh,
know. See, that's
Yeah.
fun. Thank you.
So viewers, make sure you mention that you saw him on Casting Notes from Rose and Kim, and you'll get that discount. That's
Right.
awesome. Thank you for offering that, Bill.
And
You're
all
welcome. My
his,
pleasure.
his links will be here so you can sign up, and that's perfect. But I know that even though I don't know much about improv, I do know that it brings great actors, and they do come up with great things. And one thing I always say from my side is I am constantly surprised about what they bring to the room or to the video, whatever it is.
But and from a casting standpoint, for me, I feel like when an actor has studied some improv, they tend to be a little more fearless.
Right.
They don't feel so laser targeted that it has to be exactly this word, exactly this way, and being so predictable.
Mhm.
You can even say the same dialogue, but it allows you to feel free to change up how you say it a little bit, to note there's more than one way. It just gives you a little more artistic freedom and the permission to do that because you've practiced that freedom, which I think is lovely for actors, and
Yeah.
Bill's a great example of that. That's why he's a consistently working actor, I think.
It's
Yep.
also, I think, one of the best uses of improvisation is when we're given notes, when they give us an adjustment. Because then I'm already used to taking it one of so many improv games where all of a sudden they'll yell an emotion at you and now you need to be that emotion. So usually there won't be that big of a difference when you get notes, but can we get it a more upbeat? How about you're more serious on this part of the monologue or the dialogue? And so I think improv gets you ready to take those notes and to put them into immediate action. And so there's a little less frustration that people in casting and that a director might have when they're giving notes to an improviser.
Brilliant. That makes a lot of sense to me because I think I've seen it happen in front of my eyes so many times, and I don't know that they're using skills that they probably learned in a great class.
Yeah.
So,
Right, exactly. I think so many actors and and poor acting classes will train actors to do this, is you learn the script and they'll memorize, this is where I'm going to act excited, and this is where I'm going to be sad, and I'm going to like think about, that my puppy that died when I was 5, and like this is where I'm going to think of. And these actors have all these notes like all over their scripts, and they're so worried about their notes, they can't just say the words and be in the moment.
That's easy to see too, no question.
Right.
Yeah.
And the actors who don't have all those notes, who know how to just be in the moment and roll with it and be pliable, those are the ones who 99% of the time knock it out of the park. Right. And to me, that has a lot to do with, for many of them, they have that improv background,
So Bill, do you think all actors should take both improv and straight acting classes, or you think the combo is needed for everyone?
Yeah, I think the combo is absolutely needed for everyone. It's been available to all actors for so long now, and
Right.
now in an age where you can take an improv class online, an actor who is living somewhere where there may not be improv instruction can get it online. So now is the time. And now every improv class is an on-camera class, just out of necessity, right?
Yeah, that's
So
true.
they're learning
Good
on-camera
point.
skills. If they may have only had some sort of theater training, and now they need to learn how to dial it down for an on-camera class, why not take an improv class and learn both skills at the same time?
That's so smart. That's so
Mhm.
smart. And they have to learn lighting too.
Yes.
Which I'm obviously terrible at, but I
I think you look pretty good.
I obsess over lighting these days.
do you
Right?
really?
No, your lighting
do.
is terrific.
His
Thank
lighting
you.
is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm
and
gonna have
your
to have you come
background?
over and help me with my lighting bill. But anyway,
Yeah.
but I think this has been so helpful.
That was so interesting.
So I want to remind everybody, check out Bill's links. If you haven't taken an improv class, I cannot urge you enough to sign up and take his class. Give it a try. It's so free. Even if you don't want to be an actor, it's helpful.
You might find me in there.
Right?
And it's 10% off if you mention casting notes from Rose and Kim. You can't beat that.
Right.
And this was delightful and so interesting for me. So thank you, Bill. Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much. And I hope you come back and see us again. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and
Hit that notification bell.
thanks.